Hello there. Happy Friday to you. Excited to be here for this week's marketing training. Just me this time. Thank you for all of your participation and engagement last week with Katie. A really good conversation there around what it means to be private pay, how to network, and really how to grow a practice where you can charge what you're worth. This week, we're talking about a fun topic related to online therapy. Obviously, online therapy is something everyone's familiar with now. At the beginning of this year, it was kind of an anomaly for me to work with a client that was focused on online therapy. They were kind of in the minority of my kind of client base, the people in this group, and now you're all online therapists. And each one of you has learned whether that's something you enjoy or not over the last number of months. But I do know, based on conversations with you, some of the polls in the group, things like that, that many of you plan to remain online therapy in some way, shape, or form, whether that's in a hybrid version where you're going to offer some in-person and some teletherapy, which is, I think, a wonderful model, or going solely to 100% teletherapy, realizing you love the flexibility, you love being able to travel or, be licensed in multiple states and grow your business in that way. So today we're talking about how you need to adjust your marketing for this type of service. The fact is that the type of person that decides to engage in online therapy is different than the traditional therapy client, and also that because you are shifting the way you offer your services, you also have to shift the way you talk about them and the way you market those services to make sure that they're still connecting with people and really resonating with them. Despite teletherapy being something that has grown in popularity out of necessity due to COVID, there's still some novelty to it. And for that, I'm sure you've seen in some of your clients, there's also still some kind of concerns or hesitations about it. And so it's really important that you're able to overcome those objections in order to make them paying clients. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Kind of talking about 4 steps you can be going through when you look at your marketing to really make sure that you're connecting with that online client. Before I dive in, if this is your first time joining me, thank you for being here. My name is Anna Walker. I am a web and marketing strategist for private practitioners, and I help you get booked out with clients you love and who love you. That's what this group is about. That's what my one-on-one work is about. That's what the Fill Your Practice formula is about, which is my very low price, low cost offer that you're able to dive into. And that is my step-by-step formula in order to build, launch, or optimize your practice and market it in the right way. But at the heart of everything I do is helping you be successful, and hopefully these trainings are a small portion of that. I'm not a believer that every single clinician needs to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and work with all kinds of people in order to build their business. Katie last week was a perfect example that if you can just do a little bit of education, invest in a couple key resources, you can be the successful private practitioner that you ultimately want to be. So I hope, if nothing else, you walk away from this group, this community, and these trainings knowing that and believing that about your business. So let's dive in. Let's talk about these 4 steps that you need to consider when it comes to approaching your marketing for online therapy. And the first one I kind of touched on a little bit, but really, really, really critically, and this is something I don't see enough clinicians kind of invest their time in, you have to clarify who your ideal client is. And this ideal client, the person that decides to do online therapy, differs from the person that decides to do in-person therapy. And so I really encourage you, maybe create a brainstorm, take an 8.5 by 11, draw a line down the middle, and think about your most ideal in-person clients, the people that are just willing to work with you in person. This is especially if you're going to be hybrid, but also if you're pivoting to just online. And then think about your online therapy client. What differs between them? Is one busier than the other? Is one younger than the other? Are younger audiences more open to online therapy perhaps? How are their kind of motivations and their needs different? What's important to one person over the other? Some of the benefits of online therapy are that it's very convenient, right? There's a lot of flexibility. It's private. They can do it from the comfort of their own home. These are probably things that the online therapy ideal client really values. Convenience isn't as important maybe to the in-person client, whereas someone who has a really busy schedule needs something that fits into it. Online therapy is a great way to do that. So spend a little bit of time thinking about, okay, how does this ideal client differ from my traditional in-person ideal client? Because that's what's going to start to show you the way that you need to adjust your marketing in the places where you talk about online therapy. So that means in your social media posts where you reference online therapy, in the sections of your website where you talk about online therapy, those types of things, which we are going to get into later in this training. But you need to keep that ideal client in mind because you're talking to two different people, right? Especially if you're doing the hybrid. If you're not doing hybrid and you're instead pivoting to 100% online therapy, then consider this new ideal client in all of your marketing. Make sure that's exactly who you're talking to in every single thing that you do. But I know that this feels a little bit mundane and maybe not as sexy as like, creating a new page on your website or something like that, but being clear about what this person needs and how that differs is really, really important, and it's going to make the rest of your marketing easier. That's why starting with it is so important. So clarify who your ideal client for this service is and how it differs from a traditional in-person online or in-person therapy client. Next up, the next three are kind of the process that I want you to go through when it comes to everything in your marketing, when it comes to how we lay out your website, when it comes to your consult calls, when it comes to how you think about social media or blog posts, things like that. We want this kind of 1, 2, 3 punch. And the 3 steps here are that you're going to lead with your expertise, you're going to be vocal about benefits, and then you're going to proactively overcome objections. Okay, so that's a lot of technical terms. Lead with expertise. Let's talk about that. You have to start by showing that you are an expert. So your niche is going to be really, really important here, and being clear about your niche is going to be really important. Now, why does this matter for online therapy? This is important for every type of therapist. We talk about niching all the time in this group, but why for online therapy? The reason is they need to feel like they're working with the expert in this space, the expert. Like it's worth it that they're maybe working with a therapist that lives 50 miles away, or it's worth it that they're not just going to the therapist that is in their office building that is conveniently located down there. They need to feel really compelled to work with you because you are the absolute expert that they're looking for. So you have to compel them to want to work with you, not because of your delivery method. You're probably not going to sell people and convert them based on the fact that you do online therapy. You're going to convert them based on the fact that you are excellent at what you do and that you can help them solve their problems. So you have to lead in your marketing with talking about those things. Instead of leading in your Psychology Today profile, we talk about the 3-paragraph framework in the Fill Your Practice formula, where the first one we talk about the client, we hook their attention, we focus on their problems, then we introduce your approach, and then we introduce your credibility. If in paragraphs 2 and 3, all you're talking about is convenience and online therapy, but you also are actually an expert in drug and addiction counseling, we need to make sure that that is what you're leading with. We want to hook people with your expertise and then let the convenience of your services be a cherry on top. So don't get those two confused. Make sure that above all, people want to work with you because you are the expert in your space. Now, something that's really important to consider here is this means that you need a professional looking website. And many of the websites that I see when people share their URLs with me when they join this group, there's a lot of really beautifully designed websites out there. There are also some out there that are a little bit dated. And the fact is that if someone's going to engage with you online, right, if they're going to be an online client, they have expectations for what that experience is going to look like. And so your online presence needs to match that. Think of the experience you give a client in a therapy session online. They need to get a sense of that sophistication, of that professionalism, of that expertise before they even decide to work with you, because that's what's going to lend credibility and build confidence in you, whether you are in person or online. So a professional looking website is going to be really important if you plan to meet people and convert people into online clients, since that is the realm that they're operating in. They can't judge you based off of what you're like in person or your office or anything like that. You have to treat your website like it is your sole kind of storefront. And so making sure your website is up to par is really important here, even more so than if you're an in-person therapist and can kind of benefit from the in-person experience you create. You have to think about your website as being that only experience. Next up, be vocal about benefits. Oftentimes, and this is a result of COVID, and it makes sense because a lot of people had to pivot to online therapy within like 2 weeks. They weren't necessarily doing a deep dive of their website, but a lot of times I'll land on a therapist's website and maybe they are online only, but they don't really talk about why that's useful to me. They just say that they are and they expect me to understand. What's important here is that you're not making assumptions about what your client knows or doesn't know. You have to tell them what's beneficial about online therapy, and that's really useful for 2 reasons. Number one, they might not know. They might not have considered how useful, the fact that they can do it from the comfort of their own home and not have to leave their house or get a babysitter. Those are really helpful benefits, but also if you state that something is true, it's a heck of a lot more likely that it's going to resonate with them as true. So if you say online therapy is just as effective as in-person therapy and allows you to, get help from anywhere, stating those things, being vocal about them, as opposed to just assuming that they know that, actually helps create that connection, helps them see, oh wow, you're right. I don't have to get a babysitter. I can do this from the comfort of my own home. So that's really important that you're speaking outright about the benefits of online therapy. Be confident about that. Practice that so that when people ask you on consult calls, say you're a hybrid practice and you're trying to fill those online spots. If you state, I have these slots available for online and then these two for in person, and they're like, in person makes a little bit more sense to me. Then you can say, the benefits of online therapy are really wonderful, and I would encourage you to give it a shot. If you, decide that you'd like to transition back to in-person, that's great, but online therapy is super convenient. I offer really flexible time slots, and you can do it from literally anywhere that you have a good internet connection. Once you're ready and able to practice those things and vocalize them, it's going to be so much easier for you to own how great it is that you offer this service and really position it as a convenience to your clients, right? So speak directly to what's important to that person we talked about in step 1. If comfort is really important, then speak to that. Convenience. If your ideal client is a really busy mom, then talk about not having to juggle, an in-person therapy appointment with the soccer practices and the basketball practices they're having to take their kids to, right? That it fits into that schedule. Help them see themselves experiencing the benefits of online therapy. That means in social media posts, talk about, what online therapy is and isn't, and the benefits that it offers, and be really confident about that. On your website, a couple kind of tangible things that you can do. I really suggest that your homepage have a section dedicated to why online therapy, or how online therapy works, or the benefits of online therapy, where you start to hit on some of these things. And then I highly recommend that you have a page of your website dedicated to online therapy. So have that be how online therapy works, some frequently asked questions where you can cite the studies that show that online therapy is as effective as in person, where you can talk about, the technology that's required and how it's very simple, how everything's HIPAA compliant and secure, whatever that is. Have a page dedicated to that, so that section of your homepage you can give a quick summary of the benefits and then say, learn more about online therapy here, drive over, and again, just continue to reinforce those awesome benefits of the services that you offer. And then last but not least, proactively overcome objections. And the important word here is proactively. You have probably, either when COVID started and you had to pivot your in-person people to online, and some of them didn't decide to continue with you, or maybe today you are having consult calls and someone's really wants in-person, and you have to kind of navigate whether or not they're going to be able to be an online client or not. It's really important that you are prepared to overcome objections, because that's the first thing that they're going to raise. Like we talked about, online therapy is still a little bit new. There's still some hesitations around it. People still don't 100% know how it works. And so they're going to have objections. We talk sometimes in this group about how there's always a barrier someone has to cross before they decide to work with you. And for online therapy, that barrier is a little bit higher because a lot of people don't understand it. It's new, feels a little bit like they're not sure about it. So you have to proactively overcome those objections. So that means that homepage call out on your page can start to say, hey, are you worried about the security? Don't worry, everything's 100% HIPAA compliant. All you need is an internet connection, that kind of thing. Some of the other ways you can really proactively overcome objections is by being vocal. So similar to number 2, but getting out there with the way that you market yourself, talking about how great online therapy is. Start showing people and getting them comfortable with the concept in places like blog posts. Write blog posts about, how the benefits of online therapy and how online therapy works. Show pictures on your website or your social media of your little workstation, and how you take secure client sessions from this private room in your home or from your office or whatever that is. Your social media posts, talk about how great online therapy is, and continue to kind of reinforce the benefits there. Answer questions. Use FAQ type posts in your blog posts and your social media to make sure that you're addressing those questions that we know are already in people's heads. If you maintain an email newsletter, online therapy is a great topic to consider there as well. Sprinkle in an online therapy, themed post, social media, blog post, email, maybe once to twice per month to make sure that you're really keeping those benefits at the forefront. But you'll see that the theme here is that you're being vocal about this, that you're talking about online therapy, because the more that you do that, the reason that that's so powerful is because then you're building familiarity with the concept, right? So you're not assuming that they know everything about online therapy, and so you're just not mentioning it. And you're also not hiding, like, oh, well, I don't really want them. Maybe they don't want to work with me if I'm on an online therapist. Like, no, you are offering an incredibly convenient service to your clients, and you're ultimately building a business that you love and that you deserve. So stand by that and be willing to talk about it. If someone lands on your website and doesn't get a sense of the fact that you offer online services and what those benefits are, then we're going to lose them, right? Because they don't understand how great it is that they can engage with you in this. And again, if all of this happens after they realize that you are an incredible expert in this space, that you are the person they want to work with, to heal from infidelity or to get better in their relationships or to overcome grief or whatever it is that you do, if you can talk about the benefits of online therapy and make it seem like a cherry on top to getting to work with you, then your marketing is going to be really, really powerful. So make sure that when you are looking at your marketing, that's your website, your Psychology Today profile, your blog posts, your social media, whatever you're putting out there into the world, make sure that you're approaching it with this 3-step framework. Number 1, lead with your expertise. Lead with your expertise, not online therapy. Your expertise comes first, then be vocal about the benefits of online therapy and proactively overcome the objections around it. Get confident and comfortable talking about the benefits so that you can go out there as this mouthpiece for how wonderful your services are and how you're the expert that they're looking for. Those 3 steps are going to be really, really important. They're exactly what I've been doing with some of my recent clients who I've been working with one-on-one when it comes to online therapy, making sure that making sure these things are called out on their homepage, ensuring that we have pages dedicated to online therapy. Things like that are going to be really important for them. So this is the exact advice that I'm encouraging my own clients to take and seeing results from. So friends, I hope that this was helpful. I know that this one was a little bit not necessarily quite as like check these boxes and more like how to think about what you're doing, but this approach is going to be really important, and with these kind of slight tweaks and adjustments to how you position your services, you're going to start to resonate better with that ideal client type that is the person that wants to engage with you online. And I think that audience is only going to grow because you're going to be vocal about the benefits. You're going to convert them to the idea that online therapy is a really wonderful resource, get them comfortable with the idea, and get them wanting to work with you, asking to work with you because you are so wonderful at what you do. Again, as always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to pop them in the comments. I would love to talk more with you, to hear about what your plans are and the adjustments you're making in your marketing that are working for online therapy. We are all in this together, and I have loved seeing the success that so many of you are seeing recently. I appreciate each of you. I'll be back next week for our marketing training, and until then, have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you later.